Hello and welcome back for Game 2, where Golden Guardians take on 100 Thieves. Let's kick things off by looking at the starting rosters. On the blue side, it's going to be the 100 Thieves. In the top lane, we've got Ssumday, Jungle, Meteos, Ryu in the mid lane, Cody Sun in that AD carry position, aphromoo on support, and Prolly behind them on stage.
They lost yesterday to FLICKR, looking to pick up a win today. On the other side, though, is the Golden Guardians, still looking for that first win. We have Lourlo in the top lane, Contractz in the jungle, high and mid, Deftly and Matt in the bottom lane with Coach Taric.
But as you said, just yesterday, suffering a loss for 100 Thieves, so both of these teams looking to kind of rebound off of day one from the week.
Yeah, and Golden Guardians showed some signs of life versus Echo Fox. They had really good team fighting, I would say, overall. It was a little weird because, you know, they get this huge lead versus Echo Fox, or if they fall behind versus Echo Fox, and Echo Fox gets a little loose with their play, and then Golden Guardians starts winning. Camille's huge for Lourlo, and it felt like they might have control of that game before losing it.
Yeah, Golden Guardians needs to combine their early games from week 2 with their late games from week 4, and then maybe they'd be able to come up with the win. And I think compositionally, since we're going to be covering the draft, they're looking for high synergy team composition. So since they haven't really been able to abuse lane matchups, it's more about getting lane matchups that can neutralize and then having a stronger team fight. I think that's kind of their best path to victory. It's what Optic has started to try and focus on a little bit in a few of their wins, and I think it'll be a good game plan for the Guardians as well.
Right, kind of taking a page out of FlyQuest's book, right? Maybe the Galio comes in like it did yesterday, paired with something that can help engage and really start those team fights. And this all seems possible against 100 Thieves, who took a tough loss yesterday against FlyQuest.
Yeah, 100 Thieves have been a little lackluster despite what has been a over 500 win rate. It's just they tend to win in not super impressive ways where they're struggling the whole time. Cody Sun's misplaying a little bit and then turns it on in the last couple fights. So they need to have some convincing wins. And against Golden Guardians, who they're a heavy favorite against, you would want to see them kind of smash this game quickly.
Right, they're currently sitting in playoff positions, Jap, but you struggle to say they look definitively like a playoff team, like they've already secured their spot to some degree, right? Yeah. As, of course, we move into champions, like Galio hits the ban table right away, really no surprises there.
Yeah, that's what they lost to yesterday. It's also what Golden Guardians played yesterday, and I wonder if 100 Thieves will change their strategy that much, because in most of their games, it feels like they are trying to draft heavily counter-pick focused, with less of an eye towards the full team composition. When we hear Prolly talk in some of his interviews as well, he's very into getting the players on things that they will be able to play. And because he knows even if you have the perfect team composition, if your players aren't comfortable, it's not going to work. So I wonder if they're pushing a little bit away from that or if they keep going.
Yeah, I've heard from him. He talks about League of Legends being an emotion-driven and feeling-driven game. You can really see the difference when a player's on a champion they're comfortable with and they feel they are in tune with, as compared to one they're not so practiced on.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the amount of times I was listening to player comms when we were drafting and you would hear someone say, yeah, that works, but I feel like I can play this matchup better. Even if it is a slightly worse matchup on paper, you are more familiar with that matchup.
All right, the bans are out on the table. We got that Rise ban coming through, the GP ban coming through, so no blind pick there. What are we thinking? 100 Thieves, they're gonna lock in that Sedge?
This is interesting because usually when you see Rise and Zoe banned like we did last game, you'd see the Azir lock really early on.
You are playing against High, which I think is one of the reasons that you're just not too concerned about.
Or you're okay leaving Azir up because you don't think Azir's gonna be any good.
Well, right, that's what I'm saying, is High is not known. He has a great Orianna, he can play control mages, but in terms of just being a monster in front-to-back team fighting, that's usually not how you're concerned about losing to Golden Guardians. I mean, High is most effective when he's getting these roams to side lanes. He did this all the time. Even when he was on Assassins way back in Season 4, he would often go and find kills in side lanes. So if you're just saying, hey, play Azir and try and beat me in the mid lane, that's not exactly their playstyle.
The importance of understanding your opponents in Champion Select gives you some more strategic options. The Kog'Maw's locked in as the first pick here for Golden Guardians. Still 10 seconds left on the second pick.
Yeah.
Possibly that Camille in the top lane.
That's super interesting that they're blind picking Camille. I think at this point you could actually consider Camille a flex pick.
The jungle?
Yeah, because you have seen a lot of Camille in the jungle, and I think blinding a top laner this early, especially one like Camille, pretty unwise, honestly.
I mean, some people feel more comfortable with it. Ssumday doesn't actually play like the craziest counter picks out there. Yeah. So if you're thinking,
there's that Azir. Yeah. So, I mean, kind of following along the lines of what you said, expecting High to forego that option lets them pull it in the second rotation. Let's see what the third pick is to close out phase 1 for 100 Thieves.
Yeah, going to have to pick if they want to match top or AD carry here.
Yeah, I think it's AD carry because there's already an AD carry lock. They only have one choice here. You don't even know if Camille's going to be top, and Kallista's banned, so if they don't pick Ezreal, it's pretty simple to just ban probably something like Ezreal Varus.
Or Tristana,
Yeah,
if you want
Trist
something
as
like
well.
that.
Yeah.
And there's the Orianna we were talking about. That's one of High's best champions. We talk about how great he is in side lanes and these kinds of things, but Orianna has that ability in a team fight to just find the right moment, which is something High always feels like he has the ability to do. He sees plays that other people don't, so that's a great champion for him when you're going for a more team fight focused composition.
Okay, well the top lane bans start coming through for Golden Guardians. Jace off the table, so suggesting that they do want to find an advantageous matchup for Lourlo, at least protect him if he is going to be on that Camille.
Yeah, and I want to see as well if we're going to get tank jungle bans right here, like a Zac and a Jarvan if they really wanted to, or if they just don't care, and instead they would want to ban out Matt's supports. You never really know where 100 Thieves is going to go with their team comp.
It's with the rise of Skarner, it does feel a little weird to try and pinch the jungle pool with no bans in the first round, because you ban, let's say, Zac J4. It's like, great, now he takes Skarner, and you didn't really get a huge advantage that you could have had before when there's only 3 premier picks.
Right, so definitely leaning on ban phase 1 to influence ban phase 2 here. The Fiora comes through, so double top lane bans for Golden Guardians. One more response from 100 Thieves before we see the next picks.
See if
I mean, I think you would assume another support ban, right? Just continue to pinch that pool a bit.
You would think Tahm Kench, if it's going to be paired up with the immobile Kog'Maw, if that's what they are, kind of keep banning away with.
Well, you really don't want to pick support too hard because they haven't picked a support themselves, and Golden Guardians will get first choice at it. So I think just getting rid of Braum may leave the door open for Ornn. If I'm thinking about what 100 Thieves does on the back end of the pick is kind of the lone support ban.
Yeah, the
really
Rengar.
Interesting here.
Yeah, the Rengar ban feels more like, well, we really don't want them to get the Ori Rengar combo off and destroy mid lane, which is still fearsome. So you can kind of understand what they're thinking there.
Perhaps a support Shen coming in from Matt.
Still don't know where everyone's going.
Yeah, there's a lot of flexes available.
I mean, and then, exactly. There's still plenty of flex options, right? Because we've even seen Camille support in the past.
Golden
could
Guardians
still be in
could
the
play
jungle.
3 different champions top lane.
Yep.
Camille could be top, Shen could be top, or their next pick could be top.
Yes.
Because there's a chance you have Camille jungle, Shen support.
So what do you do? What do you do, Mark? If you're in 100 Thieves position here and you're staring down the
I was about to say,
barrel-
you pick a tank top. You pick a tank top that he's not going to get crazy counter pick too hard. He's good into a lot of melee matchups. He's actually fine into Camille and Shen, can actually win those. We've seen them get solo kills in other regions all the time. So Ornn is very scary to play into. And maybe you will see the flexes away and a more range-focused champion taken away.
Wow,
Oh, man,
if this gets locked in,
nice.
that front line is disgusting
That's
for
the
100 Thieves.
Some beefcakes.
You talk about going past 35 minutes with Azir damage coming in behind triple tank line.
Man, they ended up going with Taric because they want to be able to dive and stay, but even Alistar would have been good. Probably should be smiling right now. Like he should. I guess he's just kind of waiting for the grand reveal of where everyone will be
perhaps
going.
a Camille support if that blitz ends up getting locked in, although no guarantees here.
Yeah, that's where it'll all go.
Yeah.
I think Contractz is a bit of a player who would be someone to break out the Camille if it happens.
Illaoi!
You were Illaoi,
got-
Mark.
Jat, he threw it out in our mock draft yesterday.
For a different team.
Different team,
Different matchup, but
different matchup, different.
Is it support Illaoi or top Illaoi?
Oh, that's actually a good
Because
question.
it can't. We've seen support Illaoi.
Yeah, I would think top because I have a feeling it's as I flex it there. It's better into melee matchups than any of the other potential tops that they have here. It should have a relatively good laning phase, and then you're playing against while Azir and Ezreal are very, very annoying to try and deal with poking you out. If they ever do engage with all that front line, Illaoi is a great kind of counter-engage pick.
All right, so with the final few seconds here in Champs League, we've already hit the fact that 100 Thieves team comp looks really solid in terms of team fighting, diving, and whatnot. What is the verdict on the Golden Guardians, Jat?
They're trying something new.
They're trying something new. I guess we'll give
And they
them
did
credit
get
for
the
that.
top lane counter pick, I think, pretty strongly.
Yeah, I am going to hold my judgment, but my initial reaction whenever you see a ton of crazy stuff is, okay. I mean, because Camille has crazy engage range, and it combos with Orianna, and it's all great, and then sometimes something gets turned and the comp falls apart.
All right, well, there you have it with the team comps locked in. Let's send it out to the casters to get us into the game.
Thank you very much, Dash. Let's see what happens here in game number 2. We saw an explosive game number 1. A lot of fun to see. Both teams came out the gate swinging. Let's see if these two can do the same here. The Golden Guardians looking to pick up that first win here in week number 4. 100 Thieves looking to bounce back from a loss yesterday.
And let's talk a little bit more about this Illaoi pick, because the LSS was like, oh yeah, it's good into tanks, and one of the reasons that it is good into tanks is because of the prevalence of maximum health damage in her kit. The Harsh Lesson, you're able to get on a 4-second cooldown. At max rank, it's 5%. Earlier, it starts at 3% and continues to scale there. But that's why in lane, tanks have a very difficult time traditionally versus Illaoi, because you can just continue to spam that out. You slowly whittle them down. They're under their turret most of the time, and you make it difficult for them to CS as well. Now, that in combination with Camille as a jungler, and Camille has developed into the pro scene as a jungler because of her extremely powerful ganks and the long range that she can engage from the Fog of War with her hook shot onto the walls. So we're going to keep an eye on Contractz for some innovative angles to try and go for some ganks with this Camille pick, probably early on in the game. She does not do well just power farming.
Right.
That is the weakness of the champion. For the strength of her ganks, she does have that weakness. Maybe we'll have Matt actually start her out with some strength.
Oh, speaking of early plays being made, Cody Sun going to be forced to burn both summoner spells before minions even get to lane. Ooh, that's a rough start, man.
Well, that also is going to change the mind games here of junglers, right? And where you want to start. There is going to be no flash or heal on the bottom lane for the AD carry. And even though that is Ezreal, that can definitely be a point to target. You have a Shen in the bottom lane. Taunt flashes will be available for him to try and set something up. And as we said, Camille, very, very good at getting in some odd angles as far as the ganks, especially around bottom lane where there are a lot of walls to work with. Meanwhile, here's that lane power of Lourlo on this Illaoi. Tentacles start spawning, and it's a lot more effective once you're able to get more levels into it, but there you can see the respect already from Ssumday, backing off, ceding wave control.
And I mean, it's not just the harsh lesson that's going to be so effective on this champion. As bottom side, Cody Sun in some trouble. This is what happens when you've got no summoner spells. Deftly and Matt looking to put the moves on him. They do so for first blood.
No jungler needed and no flash from the Shen needed either, as the bottom lane here from Golden Guardians definitely going to capitalize on the early game play that they were able to pull out. Let's take a look at how it all started. Just straight auto-attacking. Cody Sun walked up, and Matt just lands a great taunt straight onto him. No flash away from Cody Sun available, so definitely he's able to use his flash offensively, both over the Taric stun as well as getting him further into range of Cody Sun and removing any sort of retreat path.
Matt putting on his best smoothie cosplay, making some rotations on some playmaking supports here, seeing if maybe he can find an opportunity around the mid lane, but it does not look like it. And remember, this is 2018 Kog'Maw we're talking about. This isn't the Kog'Maw of a couple seasons ago that needs a few items to come online. He hits his power spike with Rage Blade. So getting some early money onto this Kog'Maw, he's going to be so scary, so fast if he's able to farm up well and just become that threat. You do have 3 big meatballs on 100 Thieves. But if you turn Kog'Maw into this massive meatball smash and hammer, it's not going to matter too much, Cody.
That's true. The meatball smash and hammer.
You know what I'm talking about. One of those
Next
chef hammer things with a bunch of little spikes on it.
Yeah. It's
I don't
called a
know what
tenderizer, actually.
Okay, a tenderizer. I'm sorry, I'm not well versed in chef hammer.
I don't really cook very often, but I have watched a lot of Top Chef.
I made some Pop-Tarts once.
Were you successful?
Yes, I was.
Or did you burn down the house?
They were delicious. As delicious as all this farm as Lourlo is getting for himself there in the top lane. Matt and Deftly also just farming up here bottom side. They've got the wave pushing towards them, man. They're sitting pretty.
Yeah, you are about to touch on, I believe, the healing that Illaoi can also get off of tanks as another one of her strengths.
Way back when, before the first blood.
Yeah, and that is also a good point that will be important for the team fights as well, because everybody getting hit by those is going to add to the sustain of the Illaoi in those fights. And with all the meatballs rolling around, it should be easy for him to get those off.
Also very easy to land these. The Test of Spirit onto these immobile front liners. When you've got a Sejuani and an Ornn and a Taric and these big guys that want to be right up in your face like that, it's really easy to land the Test of Spirit, get a ton of bonus damage down. I like the Illaoi pick into this composition. Contract's going to be seen as a ward is dropped while he does these Krugs.
Yep, Meteos going to be able to track him further. Definitely very powerful against the Camille like we talked about, trying to get off any sort of early plays. Meteos definitely very highly prioritizes the vision game early on and getting deep wards onto camp spawns. Oftentimes we'll see people, ward out the river or entrances from the jungle, but he really loves to go for the actual camp spawn so that you get to see when they're taking the camp, and then you just use that and the minute 20-second timer to be able to figure out where they're going next. Here he is, going next down to the bottom side, though.
All right, let's see what he can do here. Deftly, remember, no flash available for the AD carry of the Golden Guardians, and that will seal his fate. Tied up 1-1 now.
Your flash also punishable. Cody Sun used it offensively to get their first blood, but Meteos comes down to the bottom side and makes him pay for that one, getting it back.
And that's going to tie this game up in terms of kills, but it puts 100 Thieves up to a couple hundred gold in terms of a lead that they've got for themselves, thanks to the farm advantages there in the bottom lane and the mid lane. Let's see how they did it one more time.
Here we go. Meteos going to walk by. Even though there's this control ward, doesn't matter because aphromoo sets it up. Flash from aphromoo, flash from Meteos, just to make sure they're able to get right on top of them, and they will be able to land that stun.
All right, so evening up a little bit of that going on down there in bottom lane. The problem is, well, potential problem for 100 Thieves. The kill that went over for first blood went to Deftly. It's on the Kog'Maw. The kill that was made in return went on to Meteos' Sejuani. Not quite the person you would like to see having it. You'd rather have that on Cody Sun, get that Ezreal going, make sure the carry's got plenty of damage, because what I was talking about with those 3 meatballs, that means you've only got 2 real damage dealers. So if Cody or Ryu falls too far behind the pace of the game and they aren't able to deal enough damage, the rest of the team will not really make up for that. These two have to be hitting hard.
Meanwhile, Contractz, even though he has a control ward in the pixel brush, seen walking in there. And I was living a little bit in the past of the 1 minute 20 seconds. Of course, now it's the 2:30. But we are going to have the blue handoff towards the Orianna. For mid lane, High is down in CS. Has been pressured quite a lot recently just by 1v1s of the other mid laners. And Azir, Ryu here definitely trying to make use. He'll also get his blue buff handed off as Meteos doing his duty as a jungler. Able to even that one up.
Every time we pan up topside, it's always Lourlo ripping the spirit out of this Ornn. And there comes your leap of faith to apply even further punishment. Ssumday getting himself back, but he'll still lose about half HP from that one. Illaoi not having that tool does open him up to a potential gank in the future, though. He's very far forward a lot of the time, and normally it's the threat of that ulti that keeps junglers at bay.
Yeah, the threat of the ulti and the threat of the 1v2 is definitely the scariest part, because that's embarrassing if you go for the gank on the Illaoi and aren't able to dodge, and she does get her healing off. But that, as well as some deep vision or the whereabouts of Contractz, is also going to keep them honest. So here we go, level 6 Camille now. The ganks become even more threatening. Going for Ryu, immediately ulted up the turret.
Rima shuffle, but there comes your Hex Tech ultimatum. It's still enough. Contractz grabbing himself a kill.
Contractz making use of a couple different mechanics right there. The most flashy was the shot right onto the wall and then flashing immediately onto Ryu's head, so that there was no possible recourse. And they do finish up the kill as quickly as possible so he doesn't die to tower damage. That was all with Contractz, walking right by that control ward in the river, and Ryu seeing him come in. He was planning on the counterplay of his ult under turret was going to be enough, but not so there, as Contractz immediately answered with the ult of his own and secure that kill for themselves.
Let's see what's going on bottom lane as aphromoo and Cody Sun seem to have control for the time being, shoving this wave up into the turret of Matt and Deftly. What started off looking like a bottom lane that would potentially go heavily in the favor of Golden Guardians, especially after they got the first blood, they had Cody's double summoners down, has honestly just broken even between these two duos. Now the invade from aphromoo and Meteos, seeing maybe if there's anything to find here in the enemy jungle. They'll just find Contractz with the Scryer's Bloom instead, as Meteos collects that Scuttle Crab for his team. First Drake is Ocean, so nobody really going crazy to contest this one just yet. Contractz, I don't know about face checking this one, trying to get himself away, going to be stunned up. More damage comes through. Ryu trying to provide enough to finish this kill. True Shot Barrage goes over, 3-man Shockwave. Taric ulti will be expended here.
Yeah, a bunch of support ultimates coming down to protect. Contractz still sustained quite a bit of damage. We'll just go back into the jungle and start farming, but we saw the potential there. Here we go, actually, Ssumday chasing Lourlo off, going for a bit of aggression, having known that Contractz was just chunked out on the bottom side of the map.
Ooh, Ryu making the play this time onto High. Meteos waiting there as well. Now it's going to be a full-on 2v2. Ryu low on mana here, but he's still able to auto-attack, grabbing himself the kill, and the shields and the heals, it's all enough. Contractz taken low, stopwatch to keep himself alive for an extra moment. Hook shot out, he'll live as well. Meteos Still thinking about maybe trying to chase this one down. Doesn't have a flash available. Flash cone is up. Contractz goes over the wall. Meteos cannot chase, and two different players breathing heavy after that one.
Yeah, stopwatches there, saving a little bit of extra time. Ryu does live, and Hai gonna have to pay for that one himself. He has caught up very easily in farm, but here we go. Meteos was waiting in the river. They go for the pincer movements on him, and even though the stopwatch buys time for Contractz to get there, they get Ryu extremely low. Not quite enough, and they're able to finish off Hai. The extra shield coming in from aphromoo as well as he came up the river and buying enough time.
So clutch from Afro there.
Yep, and then we have the other save from the other support. Matt comes in, gets the taunt on aphromoo, and Contractz slips out.
Both of these supports putting in work here today, making sure they keep those teammates alive. Matt and Deftly, again, just trying to farm up as much as they can here in the bottom lane, get the Kog'Maw to that Rage Blade, that first item that makes such a difference on this champion and his overall damage output. But not really any reason for them to fight, especially considering there's so much going on around the map between these two teams so far, especially if you're on the side of Golden Guardians. At any moment, Matt might need to disappear with the Stand United, and you don't want to be in a spot where that leaves Deftly in the wrong place.
Yeah, it's interesting because while Shen is a support where you'd love to have him be able to freely ult the other lanes and make plays with a jungler or a top laner or something, Taric, being on the other side, is definitely a very powerful dive tool. As the 100 Thieves sweep in, Meteos is going to start up this dragon. Here comes Contractz and Hai, though. They might have something to say about it.
Oh, this is going to turn into a full-on brawl here. Meteos dropping the ulti there onto Contractz. Shockwave going to be used, and it's Hai who takes the Drake of all people as the fight breaks out. Taric ulti used here. Matt, the target at the start. Cody Sun, aphromoo, and Ryu now looking to make the play over here onto Deftly. Dropping him below half HP. More damage comes in. The Shurima Shuffle will shut him down as Ryu grabs the kill for himself. They'll pick the blue buff up as well. Golden Guardians may have grabbed themselves the Drake, but they will lose their AD carry for it as that monster in the jungle becomes just a little bit too impatient, but it'll still be taken away by 100.
Yeah, definitely didn't see that one coming. Holds onto his flash, tries to just get out with a little bit greedier use, only using the heal for the speed boost, and they eventually collapse and do get him. Very good still there by Hai, and Meteos probably feeling pretty bad about that one, but you got to shake that off because Golden Guardians right back onto the field. They're not giving you any time to breathe. Hai roaming up here with Contractz.
See if the Guardians can make it happen in the top side. Ssumday trying to get himself away as fast as he can. Can't get the second part of the Ornn ulti off, but he will get away with his life. The Tentacle tries to smack him on the way out, but not enough.
Yep, Illaoi gonna take her toll. Tank matchup, easy enough. Lourlo finally able to take down the turret, and that is first turret bonus gold over to the Golden Guardians. Here's the turnaround. Meteos lands the stun into the stun from aphromoo, but Shockwave. Oh, that was so close there. Smite from Meteos. I'm looking at him level 8. Should do 570 true damage, and I didn't even see a 570 show up.
No.
So Hai was able to get that one. Smite did go down, and there's the kill onto Deftly as they were able to chase it down with the flash.
Very close game so far between these two. It's a kill advantage for 100 Thieves, but it's a super slight gold advantage for Golden Guardians thanks to the fact they've got themselves that turret. 148 farm on Lourlo's Illaoi compared to the 112 on Ssumday's Ornn. And Lourlo is a guy who a lot of people, when they're looking at some of the more recent Golden Guardians losses, people are saying Lourlo's the one who's doing the best out of everybody on the team. I've been seeing a lot of just fan comments and general community reactions saying Lourlo's the guy that looks like he's doing what he needs to be doing the most on this Golden Guardians roster.
Well, he's definitely doing Illaoi things, beating up on tanks, what Illaoi loves. We did have Ssumday rushing the Frozen Heart and tons of armor, whereas Lourlo got a pretty early completion on his Black Cleaver. That obviously is going to help out with the shredding of those tanks, trying to take down most of what he's built up.
Once he gets the Sterix Gauge and the Death Dance, those items that are pretty iconic for Illaoi, he becomes this just massive threat in the middle of every team fight that has to be dealt with.
Yeah, it pretty much has to be 100 Thieves kiting out the ultimate, because unless Ryu gets free time just pure DPSing him down, like that's the only one who's really going to be able to make a dent in Illaoi, because Illaoi's going to be healing off of all those meatballs we talked about, tanks that are in the fight,
tenderizing
surrounding him, tenderizing those suckers. and it's gonna be difficult. So they probably would want to go with the kiting option unless they catch someone out of position or try and move around the territory that the battle is actually going to take place on.
You almost always want some sort of applicator for grievous wounds as well, whether it's a Mortal Reminder on your Ezreal or a Morellonomicon on your Azir. Stopping the healing from that Illaoi can be the difference between winning and losing a team fight if she's trying to rampage through everybody at the same time with the ulti. But the game deadlocked in terms of gold between these two squads as Meteos and Ryu move into the enemy jungle, clear out a little bit of vision. Not finding anybody just yet.
I mean, they know that they're there because they're killing the wards, but oh, they're going for it.
All right, now looking to make the play here. Contract's going to be ulted by that Shen. Meteos, stopwatch, but it's only going to buy him a couple of seconds. Contractz grabs the kill.
Well done. You can see Contractz back up, so he got a little bit more time to see the ultimate. Uses his ultimate and the couple of untargetable frames there that Camille does get during her Hextech ultimatum to dodge the Sejuani ultimate, make it a very stylish and very clean kill. Then they're able to use that kill to take down mid-turret with Rip Herald, and the Golden Guardians in control of this game at 16.5 minions. Here goes Lourlo ulting on Ssumday, though.
Lourlo saying, you don't start the fight on me. We start these fights when I say we start these fights. Ssumday has to retreat from that one.
Yeah, I mean, Illaoi is usually okay with tanks starting fights on her because she then gets to finish them.
all right. I'll concede that point. You can start the fight, but you don't get to end it. It ends on Illaoi terms only, and those terms where Ssumday has to run the hell away. 27.8 thousand to 29.3 thousand gold. The Golden Guardians, the lead's getting bigger. They're getting things done. That's what this team wants to do. We've seen this team, Kobe, so far this split, have some amazing early games and some poor mid-game decision-making that then lost in the advantages they built early. And we've seen some poor early games with some mid-game comebacks that sadly weren't enough because of the early game deficit. What this team needs is the ability to just put it all together into that coherent package, have both elements go correct at the same time, and they can get themselves to the board.
Well, they definitely just had a very coherent mid lane play that was onto Meteos, where they utilized the Shen Stand United, Shockwave in addition to the Shockwave delivery from Contractz. So very nice usage there. But again, you're talking about mainly objective control now as we move into the mid stages of this game. You can see step number one, they're getting up their early vision, they're controlling the Dragon Pit. This is going to be a mountain, by the way, so that does go a long way in helping out with their Baron control that they'll want to supplant later. Looks like 100 Thieves, though, making a hard push to deny this Mountain Drake control. They're pushing up the mid lane to get that mid-wave priority, and then sweeping in to take out the wards.
Like this plan from 100 Thieves, seems coherent. Seems like they're mid on a mission, but can they complete that mission? Or is Cody Sun going to find himself in a rough spot? Matt getting the taunt. Not really going to be able to get a lot done with it, though. Contractz jumping in, looking to start this fight off with a shuffle. But Ryu, the one who's caught out and blasted down.
The timings here on the engage was so incredibly good. Contractz, another very, very good Hextech ultimatum there. Able to deliver the Shockwave yet again, and they finish the kill before Taric ultimate comes down. That was just great execution from the Golden Guardians, securing another kill and another objective.
The Guardians are showing up today, Kobe. These guys want to get themselves that first win of the split. They're currently up about 3,000 gold. They got 2 Drakes under their belt. They've got the tempo in the game. It's looking good.
If you think about the story of these players as well, when people first saw the team put together, they were initially thinking Contractz and High, coming together for some early game plays, really coordinating themselves. Now we're seeing some of Contractz' mechanics on display here. Bunch of good dodges from him on ultimate abilities. Able to utilize the mobility here of Camille to deliver shockwaves. Now they're caught, though.
Contractz, got to be careful about getting stunned up and chain CC. Nice shockwave to keep him protected. Contractz will walk away from this one. And one thing I want to point out, the way he's building, the way he's playing this game, Warrior into Trinity Force. This ain't your Cinderhulk into Warmog tank type of build.
If somebody built a Cinderhulk on Camille, I'd slap him.
Yup, he is the carry today. This man is looking to make sure that he can do the damage when he jumps into these fights. So when he does get caught out like that, you saw how fast the health bar dropped. It just means he's got to be so careful.
Yeah, the Sheen items also are key on Camille. They work so incredibly well with her Q, you know, being able to transfer them into true damage. I believe that's still true as far as the conversion from Precision's protocol. So that helps so much with the DPS, and you'll almost always see Camille's rush to early Trinity forces because of it. Now again, he's not going to be the only threat though. Well, there's been a huge spotlight on the Camille delivering Shockwave and some flashy dodges here. There's also a Kog'Maw. A Kog'Maw that now is 2 items stacked up. So Deftly will be dishing out the damage from the backline, but here we go once again.
All right, Golden Guardians want to start this one off. Not quite finding anybody to issue that Hextech ultimatum onto except for Meteos, and that's not really the guy you're looking for. Matt, the dash over the wall, Contractz goes in. The Shockwave is misplaced, but High still grabs himself the kill into Cody. Ryu goes back over the wall as the Golden Guardians look for more.
I want to see a slow-mo of that replay because it looked like the edge of the Hextech ultimatum was like in the wall, so when Cody Sun tried to jump over, he got pushed back through it because you're not allowed to exit that ultimate. And Contractz able to secure another priority target for themselves. Will 100 Thieves be able to defend this Baron? Lourlo playing defense.
Lourlo trying to zone the entirety of the team away. Baron is secured. Meteos and the rest of the Thieves have to make their retreat now. Lourlo still looking to find some damage and grabs the punish onto that enemy jungler. We've seen the Guardians have tragic Baron throws early on into the 20-minute mark before. Not today. They find their objective. Now they're looking to push.
Baron empowered push on the secondary turret here, and they're melting it down. 100 Thieves trying to defend, though. Ssumday does get his spirit tested.
Call of the Forge God comes out, finds the knockup onto 2. Contractz and Lourlo going to be knocked away for now, but that tested spirit will continue to endure damage. That damage being, of course, transferred over to Ssumday as the Golden Guardians decide it's time to retreat, reset, and get themselves ready to make another push.
So one thing here, looking at items as well, we'll take a look after the replay actually. Meteos has rushed a Warmox, but yeah, it is. Yeah, there's the replay with the Hextech ultimatum. Contractz is able to trap Cody Sun in and not able to escape, sucked in, and with that kill, they're able to get the Baron. But the Warmox rush is very common, kind of cookie cutter on Sejuani, you would say now even. But if you're looking at all of the percentage health damage on Golden Guardians, this is a game where I definitely advise against rushing a straight health item like Warmox, because not only Illaoi, but Kog'Maw as well absolutely shreds tanks that don't have resistances and have a rush to your health like that. So that's why we also saw him going for the Baron there. Lourlo was able to get off a lot of that percentage health damage, and they chase him down for an extra kill. Sometimes you'll want to alter your build, get something like an adaptive helm when you see even just a Kog'Maw, but also the Illaoi on the other side means that there are very few good answers to trying to tank up all those different types of damage.
Save the cookie cutters for Christmas for Grandma. Let's make sure we got ourselves some adaptive build choices in these games. But for Meteos, it is going to be the health pool for now. You are seeing the Null Magic Mantle show up, so he will go for resistances now that that pool has been established. He's got the Warmox regeneration as well. Golden Guardians pushing up onto the Tier 2 here in top lane. They have yet to break any of the Tier 2 line, and they want to get some use out of this Baron. They need to showcase that they're not just a team who can get an early lead, get the Baron for themselves, but they need to show us how they can translate that into mid-game success.
Well, there's nobody that's going to be able to deal with Lourlo down here. Ssumday can just hug the turret, try and defend a bit, but honestly, Lourlo can even take some tower damage while he tries to will it down and, you know, heal right back up off of him. Meanwhile, the rest of Golden Guardian are splitting with the support Shen in mid lane, pushing the mid wave while they burn down this secondary turret, and 100 Thieves can't have much to say about it.
They try to rotate over. The rotation is not enough. Ssumday's going to be forced away. Those tentacles just slap, slap, slap. Get rid of him. Get him out of here. Mid lane Tier 2 goes down as well. Golden Guardians are they're just making a leisurely walk around the map, taking everything they find in front of them. Lourlo grabs this last Tier 2 for himself. And now all that's left is the 100 Thieves base.
Yeah, Golden Guardians with the tank killing of Kog'Maw and Illaoi and the playmaking of the Camille, Shen, and Orianna have put together 2 very, very potent tools that they're able to execute with. Look at the vision that they're laying down as well. You can tell that this is definitely a one-sided game, and this is very big for this team. They've dealt with the morale issues of starting off with 0 wins in the early stages. You talked about we're approaching halfway through the season, and this is definitely going to be a big swing in team confidence for these guys.
And it's what I was talking about earlier. I mean, we're getting into that main part, that heart of the season, right? We can't just keep saying, oh, there's plenty of time to recover. There's plenty of time for the team to get things together, because next week will mark the halfway point of the split. The teams have to be able to show us what they're made of at that point. And for Golden Guardians, you really want to get on the board this week. Right now, they're on the fast track to getting that done. 8,000 gold ahead of their opponents, a little bit over that. 100 Thieves trying to find some way back into this game, but honestly, it's just so hard to do.
I actually want to see them try and dogpile on Lourlo and send like 4 people down there and
He's
just
just
see
gonna
what happens.
smack all of them. That's the thing, though.
Yeah,
look at those items.
It's funny to watch if you're on the Illaoi side.
Okay,
5 people would probably be enough to kill them, but they're not. They would definitely lose too much in that. As funny as it would be, they don't want to see the rest of the map. And 100 Thieves is going to try and defend their inhibitor turrets. It looks like Golden Guardians actually have them strung out on the map right now, as Deftly on Kog'Maw just walks straight up to the turret with his red buff and gets a decent amount of DPS.
Definitely doesn't have a care in the world right now. He knows he has Matt hanging around on the Shen. Even if he's not directly next to him, he can always stand united to keep him safe. Golden Guardians now contemplating how they want to play out the rest of this game. Baron will be live in 2 minutes, so they could end up waiting out that one. But for now, they'll continue stealing away the jungle camps, taking everything they possibly can, and putting down all this vision to choke their opponents out of the game.
Starving them of any sort of gold income. It's approaching a 10,000 gold lead as Contractz ults Meteos here without a lot of assistance. So that one is definitely going to be a swing and a miss. And they'll be able to back off. You know, there's not much threat, and it's not the biggest of deals, but not going to accomplish much either.
A bit of a thinking emoji on that one, but he's had enough good ones so far this game that I'll give him that. I'll give him that. I think it's okay that everybody gets one goofy one that you're like, I don't know, maybe that wasn't the best use of the ability, but he'll still have it up in time for the Baron fight itself, and that's the name of the game right now. With Baron coming up in a minute, you're pretty much signing the death warrant for 100 Thieves if Golden Guardians gets it. But if you're 100 Thieves and you can manage to get that for yourselves, that might be the thing you need to break momentum. It's all about this upcoming Baron for both teams.
All right, red buff should be picked up by Deftly here as well. Kog'Maw, one of the best users of that. And all things point towards Golden Guardians' complete control of the impending Baron. If you're preempting a fight here, it would have to be a risky all-in from 100 Thieves, and at this point, there's not anything that's really safe for them to do. Anything they do is going to be risky, so it very well could be the case. They're trying to move up and take out some of the vision to help out. They still have, an Azir, but they don't have a lot of DPS in the tank, and Lourlo's not giving them time to think about it. They move out to get vision around Baron, and you lost half your inhibitor turret already.
We're talking about a harsh lesson onto champions. We can teach a harsh lesson to a turret as well. Lourlo applies the pain to that, takes it down very, very quickly, and 100 Thieves have made the call for Baron. They have to rush this down. They have to get this. This is their dying breath, and if it fails, it's going to be the game itself. Lourlo makes his way in the fight. Blast Cone over the wall, stun down onto him. Damage coming through. Call of the Forge God is fired off, but Ssumday's still going to be losing some HP for now. Shockwave finds its way onto 2 members. Contractz into the front line. A killing spree onto Meteos. 100 Thieves in retreat as Golden Guardians will run them down. Ssumday barely keeping himself alive. Contractz will be left to collect his 300 gold from aphromoo as the fight goes entirely the way of the Golden Guardians, who are now poised to win this game.
And it looks like they're going to take the Baron without Contractz. Now they're waiting for him to come around just in case. They don't want any weird skill shot coming from out of the blue, I guess, to steal that one. Cody Sun.
They are up against an Ezreal.
His ultimate just came up.
Must be careful.
Yeah, they didn't know that it was still on cooldown, but they do wait around. Now that is Baron buff empowering this first victory of the season for Golden Guardians. They have an open door into the enemy base with Baron buff and a giant gold lead. Woo. Long time waiting, but looks like it's coming.
The team is doing things well today. I was having a conversation with one of my friends before the game started today, Kobe. I said, who do you think's gonna win? She said, Golden Guardians. I just feel it. Got that intuition.
All right, well, Lourlo also feeling it. Blast Cone's into the middle. He's gonna immediately used that stopwatch to buy a little bit of time during the Taric ultimate. So Taric ultimate down, you see the immediate re-engage from Golden Guardians. Again, we're seeing some very good timings from them and some good coordination. I was able to shockwave and ensure that they were able to force the fight after Taric and vulnerability had gone down. And from then, they were able to chase in. Let's see them use the Baron buff. They've actually had some weird lane allocations with high on bottom side, but they're so far ahead it might not matter. This is just an Ocean Drake that's coming up in 45 seconds, and you don't want to give away much territory for that. But 100 Thieves are just looking for an area to get back into this game and catch somebody off guard. They might catch High, actually, with that weird positioning.
100 Thieves has to try to do something. High will be caught out here, taken down.
Whoops-a-daisy.
They spend quite a few ultimates, 3 of them to be exact, to get that kill, though, which means 100 Thieves are now in danger of losing more of their base. Second inhibitor turret will fall. That's 2 exposed inhibitors, but critically, all of those inhibitors still alive. So no super minions spawning just yet, but a bit of a misstep there for Golden Guardians mid lane.
Yeah, Golden Guardians, definitely a misstep there. They don't want to give any time to 100 Thieves because they had so much power in this game. But the sneaky Thieves hiding in the fog of war here, well done. And they're able to jump onto High, take down the shot caller, and give themselves some time to come up with some countermeasures. Them losing the inhibitor turret was probably going to happen, so they're happy to take any sort of wins that they can get. An Ocean Drake here, you know, 1 kill there, an extra 30 seconds to try and defend. Definitely happy about that one, even though things looking very bleak.
14,000 gold is very bleak indeed, but that's the tune of the lead for the Golden Guardians even after the death of their mid laner. He's currently sitting on 4.5 items, counting boots as an item, of course. It does occupy an item slot. That's the rule I'm going with from now on. We're counting boots.
I'm on board.
All right.
Honestly, we need to get everybody on board.
Yeah,
Sign the petition.
that's the new standard. We're going to make this a thing. We'll put it on one of those online petition things, get 50,000 people to sign it. There's 50,000 people watching right now. Y'all go sign it. Contractz and the rest of Golden Guardians, though, pushing up, wanting to end this game. They've got Baron for another 20 seconds or so. Want to try to at least see if they can pressure onto this inhib with it, but the Azir turret being summoned. Very cool summoning animation on that one. We'll stop them for now. 10 seconds left on Baron. The call of the Forge God is sounded. They're looking to catch out Lourlo, but I don't think that's the guy you want to try to pour a lot of damage into. Matt on the front line has the ball attached, the shield there as well. Mid lane inhibitor will fall. Lourlo taking the credit on that one. Golden Guardians now with some extra pressure thanks to those super minions rotating themselves towards top, saying, nope, never mind, psych, changed their minds, going bottom instead towards that other exposed inhibitor, trying to decide the right way to play this.
Yeah, thanks to the pick on High that 100 Thieves got, they were able to wait out the Baron buff, but as you said, super minions will now be coming down mid lane, and Golden Guardians can play the waiting game down here. This is just an Azir turret that's about to time out, so there's not a lot of threat. That's why they swapped back down to this bottom side, because top side is a real turret, and those ones are a little bit more dangerous.
Yeah, they don't kind of decay when Azir's not next to them. Definitely using those long-range auto attacks to just chip away at this inhibitor. It will regenerate a little bit, definitely with plenty of items of his own. Rage Blade, Orc, Hurricane, Wits In, very threatening on this Kog'Maw. Call of the Forge God comes out, finds its way onto 2. But now with that down, Golden Guardians knows there's one less big team fight tool available for 100 Thieves. Two-Shot Barrage also going to be fired off. Doesn't really find a lot of success just yet. Lourlo loses the Sterix gauge there, trying to find some damage. Ryu going to be taken very low, down to about 1/3. Golden Guardians with control over the area, control over the inhibitor, will take that as well as they walk themselves out 5 alive.
All right. 2 inhibitors down now. Golden Guardians can reset off of this, spend some of that gold, and then try to return to finish the job. Another minute and 50-something seconds left on the Baron. Probably shouldn't have to wait for that because of the lead that they have right now and just return to the top lane. But 100 Thieves have their eyes on that. They're just trying to think 1 minute ahead. And that's as far as it goes. Yeah, one minute ahead, 1 step at a time, trying to stall out, trying to win a single team fight, you know, pick off one person to buy themselves more time, to try and get some more DPS there out of the Azir, out of the Ezreal, complete a few more items for themselves.
The Ezreal, one of those champions that we talk about as just not being the same late game power that you see from something like a Tristana or a Kog'Maw or any of these late game hyper carries that seem to be so prevalent. And that's kind of a bad situation to be in for 100 Thieves. Right now, you wish you had one of those big scaling late game hyper carries. You wish you had something akin to like a Kog'Maw, because that always gives you that, well, what if he doesn't get targeted? Well,
Don't
what if
get
he
everything
goes
you wish
off?
for.
You don't get everything you wish for. 100 Thieves gonna need to make a lot of wishes to come out on top in this one. Definitely eating a little bit of damage, but the shields will be more than enough to keep him healthy. They only have one inhibitor turret left to break. They've got a front line to protect them. They've got this incredibly strong Illaoi.
I feel like the optimal play here would be for 100 Thieves if you're looking at the more difficult task. Just try and focus down Contractz when he jumps in. Even though he's probably going to get the Shen ult on top of him. He is a very mobile champion.
Got Taric now too.
And he has Taric as well. That's probably the best bet because it's so difficult to dive the back line for 100 Thieves that they might want to just try and kite backwards. You know, maybe they would find a window where Kog'Maw W is down or something, and they can kite backwards to make it more difficult for a shockwave to land. But that would probably be best case scenario, and it's going to be difficult to make one of those happen because now they have to face check around this Baron. Golden Guardians once again using that vision to bait 100 Thieves over. And again, the minions are walking in the base. They're already on the Nexus turret now with super minions starting to do their work.
This is such a bad situation for 100 Thieves. The base is dropping. They're trying to fight for the Baron. It's already going to be taken. Lourlo in the middle of multiple people just tanking up everyone. The 100 Thieves trying to retreat. The Taric ultimate already going to be used. The Shurima shuffle trying to just push them back. Contractz getting himself away off to the side. aphromoo barely staying alive. 100 Thieves lose no members in this, but their base is falling. They've lost one Nexus turret, a TP coming in as the minions absolutely destroy that second Nexus turret. The Golden Guardians are on to the Nexus. For the first time this split, can they find their win? Lourlo taken down, Shockwave onto 2. The Golden Guardians look to end this game. They will do it and get themselves on the board. The smile on High's face says it all, Kobe. Golden Guardians find the win.
And such a well-deserved win at that.
What a showing from this team. We've talked about the pieces of the puzzle needing to come together. We've talked about how the team has had early game successes, how they've had mid-game successes, how things just haven't fallen into place at the right time for them. And this game, it all came together. They worked as a team. They had a coherent plan, and they found that win.
I really like the draft from Golden Guardians. A lot of answers for tanks with percentage health damage. They have Kog'Maw, they have Illaoi. Then the playmaking and mechanics that they also displayed. We got to see the Contractz and High combination, you know, delivering that shockwave, Contractz dodging ultimates. Matt on the Shen, support Shen, multiple saves there. Good roams from him and taunts. Really well played by Golden Guardians to get their first win.
And that has to feel so amazing for this team. It took 4 weeks. It was a rough road getting there, but now you're at the point where you've got that first win. You've got that motivation, you've got that momentum saying, all right, this is what we've got to do. We found what works. Previously, the question was always, well, what's wrong with your Golden Guardians team? What's this roster not doing right? Where's the failures that are causing them to lose games like this? Now they've got their answer of, here's how you win. Now the question is, can you replicate this consistently? Can you turn this into the norm instead of what happened for the first 3 weeks?
Yeah, and that's super difficult to do in League of Legends because there are so many moving parts. Definitely some positive stuff for them moving forward, though. You know, I'm happy to see the smiles on the players' faces. Whenever a team starts out like that, everybody's kind of rooting for them, right? They're the underdog of the entire league.
You love the underdog. It's like, you watch Rocky, you got to cheer for Rocky, man. Rocky was the underdog. Nobody was being like, oh, man, Mr. T, he better shove Rocky down. But let's go ahead and send things down to Ovly and the Golden Guardians veteran in the mid lane.
Thanks, guys. Hi, congratulations on Golden Guardians' first win of the split. This has got to be a big win for you guys. What does this victory mean to you and the team?
We're on the scoreboard, dude, finally. So here we are.
Now, whenever I see you guys sit down, all of you guys seem so happy and pumped. What was keeping up the morale for the team like?
Well, we're all just really supportive of each other. We're doing our best to understand, we're doing everything we can to get better. And if we keep the practice and the mentality that we have, the wins will come, as shown today. I felt like we played pretty well. We had a few mistakes, but I feel like we're getting better every week. And we're all pretty excited about that.
You guys have actually had some pretty close games. Yesterday's game against Echo Fox actually went pretty well. Why do you think you guys weren't able to close out some of the earlier games?
Well, in week 2, I think that's what you're referencing. We had like a 5K gold lead in both games, and we threw. That was just a lack of team synergy. We're kind of on different pages on everything. And as the weeks come through, we're getting better on understanding how everyone plays and working on our macro play and just working as a team, really. So,
what can you tell me about your team's shot calling dynamic?
I don't know.
No shot callers?
We'll keep it a secret. I don't know.
All right, team secret, that's fair enough. But what can you tell me a bit about your draft phase?
Well, I feel like a draft phase thing is kind of things that, we want to keep to ourselves. But, we go into having a plan of what we want to do, what champions we want to play, and what we're comfortable against. Sometimes they work out, sometimes they don't. Like yesterday, we had a plan, but it didn't really work out that well. But we felt like it was good, and I would say it's just sometimes that happens.
All right, well, you're keeping all your secrets from me. I'll get them out of you eventually. But for the fans watching, what reasons can you give them? Why should they continue to believe in Golden Guardians and continue to cheer you guys on?
Well, we're 1-7, so hopefully we get some underdog fans at least, People like rooting for last place, right? No one wants to root for the winners always, because that's kind of boring. So root for us. We'll do our best to get some wins for you guys.
Thank you, and congratulations again on the win. Let's hear more about this game from the analyst desk.
Thank you very much, Avli. Golden Guardians picking up their first victory. Moving to 1-7. I like the fact that High is keeping a little mystery around the strategy, how they entered into picks and bans, what the shot calling's like, because if we pull up the team comps, we had the fun opportunity of getting to run through Champs Select, but man, a lot of crazy stuff came out here.
They early picked the Camille. They picked a support Shen for a double flex. They banned all the carry top laners, so you knew that 100 Thieves was getting that strong backline, strong frontline team comp, which that's a good comp that 100 Thieves has in isolation right there. But pulling out that Illaoi to give him winning top lane and then playing around the bottom mid side in the game is, I think, what won them this
Yeah, I think that's important to know. It's like, yeah, you can have these crazy flex picks and you get a good matchup in the top side, but if you don't execute on the difficult parts of the comp, which are getting the Camille working, get the Shen working, then this game does not go nearly as well for them. But they have a really smart Shen plan where he taunts over the wall by himself blind. A little risky, but he's sitting there trying to wrap around and find an opportunity. They see Cody Sun in this bot river and he says, all right, well, I'm just going to start wrapping around behind him.
Yeah, and guys, when you're 0-7, it's time to take some risks. So they did the risk with pulling out the Illaoi and saying they could play around it. That won them top lane. They did this move where Contractz roams down to get the early flash and not give Cody Sun time to recall to win the bottom lane. Also on Cody Sun to not get in taunt range if he's not going to expend flash as a Shen, because once that taunt lands, once you're flashless Ezreal at level 1, you're dead. So top lane's now destroyed. Bottom lane is now super far behind. You only got the mid lane, and that's where Contractz ends up going next.
The next place I want to go is to the Dragon Steals, because these seem to be plaguing the LCS, Chad.
Yeah.
What's going on?
Jack called it. He said the only way you get these upsets is you got to steal dragons. So there you go. High with the steal on that Orianna shockwave.
625 was the smite health for Meteos there. His smite did 575, so the 50 damage shockwave is what stole it.
Right, but in all seriousness, the player that we got to point to is Contractz in this one, piloting that Camille to some great success.
It really showed impressive understanding of all the mechanics. This is not just like, oh, I saw someone play it in Korea a couple times because Spirit's been playing it a little bit. He actually does know this champion inside and out. That first one a little bit more standard, but here, outplaying what the enemy wants to do. Know he's going to want to throw that ultimate, sees the animation, jumps over it. Beautiful play by him. They have Matt coming in as well to join in all this attention that they're putting around snowballing this mid lane, and that's where they keep going over and over again.
Yeah, and right here, luckily getting the Hextech ultimatum kind of in the wall, so Cody Sun's E over just shoots him right back into melee range.
Funnily enough, though, Contractz essentially 100 to 0s there because High's ult actually snaps back to him in that moment. He does get the Q move for the kill at the very end, but essentially 90% of Ezreal's health gone just to Camille.
Yeah, if you guys are going to try this in Flex Q or something, make sure you get the E on the Camille before the ult because it will disjoint the ball midair.
Right, but you know what's interesting is that's essentially that Rengar interaction, right? We saw the Rengar ban come through in phase phase 2 from 100 Thieves
Yeah.
to keep it away from that Ori Rengar combo. Still possible to execute with Camille, perhaps a little bit harder. But now what I want to do is I want to take a moment to go ahead and listen to the final sounds of the game as Golden Guardians pick up their first win.
I'm in the base, guys. I'm in the base.
Yeah, we're
We're coming. Sam, you're by yourself.
I think Sam can end it.
I'm trying to end. I'm trying to end.
Okay, we win. Let's go.
Yeah, come in. End the game.
Kill them.
Kill these guys.
Let's fucking go, baby! Let's fucking go!
So there you have it. So very, very, very happy players there. I mean, we were talking, Mark, about where would the wins be found for Golden Guardians throughout this split. They might be few and far between. How does this one stack up to what your expectations were for how they would find victory?
I think people have always pointed to High and Contractz as being the two focal points for this team in getting ahead. It's very important to get a winning top side for Lourlo. He did get that matchup. That's important. But then the game was really won off those pickoffs that they kept finding in the mid lane. Because as you can see, that gold graph was pretty close until 18 minutes, and they didn't actually have that many winning lanes. So those early pickoffs helped stabilize the early game until the bigger plays came in later.
Yeah, Camille was huge for Contractz. He had been performing pretty poor in a lot of their losses, and it feels great to have Golden Guardians get this first win, but
yeah, on the board.
to be a bit of a Debbie Downer here, it's the one
Classic
win
chat.
of the 7, right? So even during that game, when they were 10,000 gold up, 12,000 gold up with 2 inhibitors, they waited 2 minutes for Baron instead of pressuring the bottom inhibitor. Like, you're always wondering, can they end it? They were 15,000 gold up.
Right.
Like, they definitely showed improvement, and they are definitely not perpetual bottom dwellers, but they still have a long way to go.
I was about to say,
go where they want to be.
this win doesn't negate the steepness of the climb that they have to make if they have any, plans to be in that playoff picture, even at the end of the split or above that 10th place position. You got one more till the end of the first round robin, and then you get to do it all over.
And that game's against Optic. I'm really excited for that.
Yeah. So it's a very winnable game against Optic. Where do you think Golden Guardians could find an edge? What from this game, since Optic is one of those slower-paced teams, could they carry over to find a win against Optic?
I mean, I think what you saw CLG kind of do and focus around the top side, you can do again here, but do what they did where they give them a good matchup, but they didn't go top. They didn't snowball the Illaoi. They just said, Illaoi wins that lane. Great, let her do that, and then we're going to do other things. So I'd like to see a similar approach to that against Optic.
All right, I love it. Up next, TSM and CLG add another installment to their long-standing rivalry. We'll see you here after the break.
Bottom side, Cody Sun in some trouble. This is what happens when you've got no summoner spells. Deftly and Matt looking to put the moves on him. They do so for first blood.
Look at Azir.
Walton in,
No,
Walton.
outside. Outside.
Cheers, top watch. Does she have flash?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
okay, nice. Let's push in back after this.
Contractz jumping in, looking to start this fight off with the Rima shuffle. But Ryu, the one who's caught out and blasted down.
I got it all.
Nice. Azir.
Move forward. Azir.
Keep go. I can go forward.
Azir. Go left.
Hey, we can get through bot too.
The Golden Guardians are on to the Nexus. For the first time this split, can they find their win? Lourlo taken down, Shockwave onto 2. The Golden Guardians look to end this game. They will do it and get themselves on the board. The smile on High's face says it all, Kobe.
Welcome back to Remember This. During the 2015 Spring Playoffs, Counterlogic Gaming's Darshan and Huhi teleported onto Team Liquid's Piglet to end the game.
Mode right now, but Darshan wants to kill him. That's a little ambitious.